Now, last night we brought you the story of the Whipple Squeeze, a government energy savings remodel for the Whipple Federal Building near the airport. That cost taxpayers nearly $200 million.
Tonight, Tom Lydon is unveiling another government real estate deal that's also raising eyebrows, this time for the people who guard aviation, the Transportation Security Administration. So, Tom, what's up with the TSA?
Yeah, you know, we've been doing a lot of stories about TSA, mostly on different security breaches that they've had at the airport. But sources inside the agency tell us tonight's story is the one that really worries them the most. It's all about how TSA spent a lot of money making room for a new regional director who took over in February, but who ultimately decided not to make Minnesota his home.
TSA moved into its Bloomington offices just before Halloween. For security reasons, they've asked us not to disclose its exact location. But weeks before TSA moved in, we began checking out their new home and following the money trail.
We want to keep the cost reasonable. We don't want to stand out as an organization of wasting taxpayers' dollars.
Ken Kasprisan was TSA's first local director back in 2002 and set up their old offices on Metro Drive as TSA went from 18 employees to 1,200 in just a few months.
$18 a square foot sounds like a good deal.
It was a great deal.
For their new place, TSA is paying $29 a square foot, a bit on the high end for Class A office space. The 5-year lease costing TSA $500,000 a year. But that's not what caught our eye. Fox 9 obtained the floor plan and discovered about a quarter of the space is dedicated to TSA's regional director, a build-out that sources tell Fox 9 is costing $300,000 over 5 years. Just one problem. TSA's regional director, Bob Ball, is based in Detroit, not Minneapolis. And that's left TSA scrambling to fill the space. Plan B is to repurpose the space to house the TSA Coordination Center, currently located at the airport, where the airport surveillance cameras are monitored. But Fox 9 has learned the airport doesn't want those video signals to be transmitted beyond the airport itself.
At what point in time do we drop back and punt?
And it may be part of a much bigger picture. A recent GAO report criticized Homeland Security's new consolidated headquarters in D.C. at the site of St. Elizabeth, a former hospital for the insane, which congressional leaders say is an appropriate metaphor for a project that's $1.5 billion over budget and a decade behind schedule.
Courtyards built with Brazilian IP wood, one of the hardest woods in the world, eco-friendly green roofing, and rainwater flush toilets.
TSA's offices in Minnesota are hardly cushy, yet no one will actually admit they made a mistake in building space for a regional director who isn't even here. Kasprisan, who went on to lead TSA nationally, believes denial has become part of TSA's culture.
I think there is a focus, especially locally, that's more subsumed with the bad publicity versus let's figure out what the root cause of the problem is, if it's long wait times or whatever it is, and let's fix that.
In other words, they care more about Fox 9 showing up about a security breach.
That's the sensing that I have. I think you have them running scared.
And TSA declined comment on this story tonight, but we know they called a top staff meeting tonight to discuss it. It's important to point out it is the General Services Administration, the GSA, and not TSA that finds government office space and works out the lease. In a statement, GSA tells us they looked for the most cost-effective space available, and the lease also includes the cost for building out the space, operating costs, taxes, and building security. Guys?